Hello buddy, it's vanburman here. Welcome to my video today. I want to talk about Ubisoft and Steam. For those of us in the UK, we've already noticed that, well, I didn't actually notice until someone asked me to look it up on the Steam store, but you might have noticed that Far Cry 4 and Assassin's Creed Unity and the upcoming game The Crew is not going to be released on Steam for the UK. Lowever, the plot has now thickened, and it's, well, I've heard that the games will soon no longer, or may no longer, be available to users worldwide on Steam. And it is all done through the Uplay store now. In much the same way that EA have Origin, Ubisoft have Uplay, and Steam has, well, pretty much everything else. But, you know, the funny thing is why Ubisoft have decided, or did in the first place at any rate, decide not to release these games in the UK. I mean, it's by the fact that I didn't want to play them. It obviously means that I, you know, haven't got more anger towards it. But I do think it's a massive shame. I also thought the fact that EA no longer released their games on Steam was also a massive shame. Purely because, you know, as a PC user, I favour Steam over the other digital distribution softwares, programs. Apart from Desora, I do quite like Desora as well, but that's because they are independent and they give a lot of smaller games a bit of a chance, at least, or a fighting chance, which Steam perhaps don't do so much. Nevertheless, I'm not going to get into that debate. Ubisoft haven't actually released any official reason for taking this move. I mean, it's not quite as clear cut as the EA one, which did come out, and it was fairly obvious actually. It was basically that EA wanted to have, in the way you've got your Steam wallet and you can buy DLC for cosmetic items and stuff in the actual game. EA wanted to do that through their own servers, and Steam said no, it has to go through our platform, basically, so Steam could take a cut of the money that people spend in whatever game it was. It turned out to be Mass Effect 3, I believe. Well, that's what I've convinced myself it is anyway. And maybe that's the same thing that Ubisoft have done. I can only speculate at this point. But I know in Assassin's Creed Unity, of course, you can buy the points, Unity points or whatever they are, in the game in order to buy the best weapons if you so desire, and take away any game progression. But still, you know, if that was done through Steam, then it would go through the Steam wallet and Steam would take a cut. Simple as that, pretty much. And maybe that's the reason that Ubisoft have decided to just stick it on Uplay, or maybe they feel as though they're a big enough company, make enough brilliant games that people will happily have Uplay on their system and run the games through there and have their DRM. Perhaps. Maybe. I mean, it was always annoying having a game on Steam and then having to go through Uplay as well, but I'm not a fan of Uplay really that much at all. The only positive, or the positive I can see from it, is that when Steam has competition, it puts the onus on Steam to do a better job. It forces them to not get complacent, to make sure that they are staying at number one. Now, the thing about Steam is they obviously have a lot of developers that will put games on their platform, sorry. Whereas Origin is just obviously the EA games and their related sub-companies. Same with Ubisoft. And while I quite like the idea of having all my games in one place, e.g. Steam, it's obvious that that probably isn't going to be how it turns out in the end. All the really big companies are probably going to have their own, and then Steam will cater for everyone else. Square Enix tried to do the same thing when they released Final Fantasy VII on the PC. They released it outside of Steam, well, and Final Fantasy VIII. They released it outside of Steam on their own network, and then decided that actually they didn't really have enough quality or quantity of games to release on PC, so it's a lot easier for them to do it over Steam. It takes away all the hassle, and Steam do all the work pretty much. You just send them the program and keep the program up to date. And EA and Ubisoft have now decided to do it on their own for, well, obviously financial reasons, not for the ease of the PC gamer. And one thing I've noticed as well is, as a general rule, games that I haven't seen Uplay, and I haven't seen how much the games are selling for on Uplay, the new games that have come out, but especially on Origin, they charge a lot of money for a game that, if it came out on Steam, you wouldn't be expecting to pay that price. I mean, $59.99 for Dragon Age Inquisition is a huge amount of money for a PC game. Let's face it. You know, if that came out on Steam, the highest you would hopefully see it for is $39.99. I suppose that's regardless from the point, to a certain extent, but it was just something to bring up and something that might make you think about it. So I'm not going to be buying any of the latest titles from Ubisoft. I'm disappointed they've taken it off Steam. I don't want Steam to get complacent at all, though. I don't want them being the only one that does it. It is just a shame to have different programs to have to play the game on. The interface on Steam is probably the best one out of the three. I do have Origin, and obviously I play a few of my games through there, so I can't complain about that too much, but especially like the chat features and the community aspects of it are far greater on Steam. Steam have done a very good job with it, and the problem with Origin and Uplay is that they can never really have that same community and setup as Steam do, because they're so massively far behind from what Steam's got and the amount of developers and publishers that Steam has on board. For EA, for EA and Ubisoft, in order to catch up, they're going to have to do the same thing as Steam and also sell all those other games as well as their own, and then have a great community, features in there as well. I really don't see it happening. Steam were very quick on it. They obviously have released, or sort of released, a lot of games, and they managed to build it up from there and did it very, very successfully. For the other two, not sure you can see it happen, but you know, they've basically put the banner out there and said, right, well, if you want our games, you will have to use our platform. That's it. Regardless, you can't have it on Steam or anything like that. It has to go through us. Like I say, it's a shame that it has come to that. It's very ambitious by Ubisoft as far as I'm concerned. I thought it was very ambitious by EA as well. Hopefully it pays off for them. Like I say, I feel a bit of it is a bit money grabbing in terms of the DLC and in terms of the price of the games. But I am hoping that the reason will come out eventually, such as the Origin Steam one did. And we'll have to see what transpires from it. Luckily, Ubisoft don't make a huge amount of games that I have any particular interest in anyway, so I think I'll be safe. EA do, well, BioWare do anyway, make games that I like, so I will have to continue using Origin, and of course I like to play FIFA, so that is also on Origin as well. But anyway, I involved Origin in this debate far too much. If you got any comments or queries, or generally anything to do with this topic, how you feel about it, then please do put it in the description below. It would be interesting to hear your points of view on that. Anyway guys, thank you much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon.